This is a recon mission. We gather intel and intel only. Cass will make our way to the city on foot.
Episode 1. The story opens with the arrival of a gigantic alien spaceship, an advanced vessel the likes of which humanity has never encountered. This is the first official contact between humans and aliens, and the world is left in awe and confusion. The alien ship lands on a specific location on Earth and starts constructing a mysterious and unusual crystal-like artifact. Eventually, a NASA scientist named Eric discovers that this is no ordinary structure. It's functioning like a massive antenna, transmitting signals to a distant planet called P. Canis. As soon as Eric reports this, NASA forms a special astronaut team tasked with traveling to this alien planet to learn who these beings are and whether they pose a threat to Earth. The leader of this mission is Nico, who also happens to be Eric's wife. About a month into the mission, Nico is suddenly awakened from cryosleep by the ship's AI robot William. He informs her that there was a miscalculation in determining the planet's coordinates and travel path. Now, the ship is headed straight into a region filled with dense, dark matter. If they continue moving at their current speed, the ship may begin to sustain serious damage. But if they slow down to move safely, it will add 7 more months to their journey, and no one knows what might happen with the alien artifact back on Earth during that time. To reevaluate their plan, Nico decides to wake the entire crew from cryosleep. Using updated calculations, the team figures out that they can use the gravitational force of a massive star named Sirius to perform a slingshot maneuver and bypass the dark matter region. Nico agrees to the plan. However, when they begin executing it, the ship starts taking heavy damage. Nico is forced to call off the maneuver midway and reduce the ship's speed. Unfortunately, they don't have any other viable option left, so they settle on taking the longer but safer route. Since this detour adds an extra 7 months to their journey, tensions begin to rise. The ship's vice leader, who was originally supposed to lead the mission before Nico took over, gets frustrated and lashes out at her. He argues that in situations like these, calculated risks are sometimes necessary. Otherwise, who knows what that alien artifact might be doing back on Earth? A few of the other crew members support Ian's perspective. He rallies their backing and calls for a revote on the ship's leadership. This time, Ian wins easily and officially replaces Nico as the mission commander. Under his authority, Nico is once again placed into cryosleep. As for the few crew members still loyal to her, Ian warns them that he plans to follow through with his plan no matter what. If they disagree, he won't hesitate to send them back into cryosleep and replace them with others more willing to follow orders. With the leadership shifted, Ian proceeds with his original strategy, using the gravity of the star Sirius to slingshot the ship forward through the dark matter region. But just like before, the ship cannot withstand the extreme pressure. Systems begin failing, and the situation quickly spirals out of control. Seeing the ship on the verge of destruction, the chief engineer, August, wakes Nico from cryosleep. Acting fast, Nico modifies the plan on the spot, using her technical knowledge to steer the crew out of danger. In the nick of time, she prevents the ship from exploding. Although they manage to regain control, the ship has already taken substantial damage. Nico reclaims leadership and addresses the crew, declaring that Ian's reckless choices almost got them all killed. Their entire mission and humanity's hopes nearly ended that day. Whether they like it or not, the safest course, even if it takes longer, is the right one. The crew accepts her reasoning and starts working together to repair the ship. Meanwhile, Ian, bitter over losing command, becomes jealous and resentful. During the repairs, he secretly plots to kill Nico, but she notices his suspicious behavior. In a moment of self-defense, she kicks him away, and by accident, he touches an exposed electrical panel and is fatally electrocuted. Episode 2. With communication to Earth severed and the oxygen levels critically low, the crew aboard the Salvare is pushed into a life-threatening crisis. To prevent a potential explosion, they're forced to release hydrogen from the ship's system, further reducing their chances of survival. Meanwhile, back on Earth, Eric receives the alarming news that all contact with the Salvare has been lost. Choosing to focus on his daughter in the midst of uncertainty, he returns home to be with Yana. However, their fragile peace is shattered when prominent media figure Harper Glass publicly speculates that the mission may have ended in disaster. Devastated, Yana watches the broadcast and fears the worst. In space, a glimmer of hope appears when William detects a nearby rogue planet that might help them survive. This planet contains valuable minerals rich in both hydrogen and oxygen. After landing, Nico brings pilot Cass Ivakovic out of cryosleep. Cass joins August and Oliver on a mining mission to retrieve the elements needed for survival, while Javier and Bernie assess the ship for any structural damage. During the operation, August and Oliver discover the planet's atmosphere is breathable, leading to a quiet moment of personal connection between them. On board, Sasha and Michelle form a growing bond of their own. Haunted by Ian's death, Nico finds William conducting simulations to understand Ian's final moments. Meanwhile, seismic instability caused by a nearby moon begins threatening the entire mission. With time running out, Nico orders an emergency liftoff and personally pilots a shuttle to save August and Oliver. Back on Earth, Eric uncovers a strange code embedded in the alien artifact's music. As the Salvare crew holds a small ceremony to remember Ian, tragedy strikes again. Petra experiences a sudden seizure and collapses, hinting at deeper dangers still ahead. Episode 3. Though Zane manages to stabilize Petra after her violent seizure, the underlying cause remains a mystery. The crew focuses on finishing the necessary repairs to the Salvare and begins navigating back toward Sirius A to pinpoint their location. On Earth, Harper Glass once again corners Eric for answers, but he remains guarded and dismisses her persistence. As the ship approaches the Oort cloud surrounding Sirius A, an unexpected crisis unfolds. Nico suddenly loses her vision mid-navigation. In response to the strange symptoms, microbiologist Julian is awakened from stasis. His investigation reveals a troubling discovery. A boron-based virus has infected the crew, targeting their nervous systems. While Bernie shows no symptoms, it's ultimately discovered that he is the carrier of the infection. Soon after, Michelle succumbs to the illness and violently attacks Nico, who manages to overpower and restrain her. Although Petra initially seems to be recovering, her condition takes a horrific turn, and she dies as the virus forcibly removes her nervous system. Faced with the threat of contagion, the only option appears to be a full purge, ejecting the crew and air into space before bringing in replacements. Nico allows one final hour for preparation. Desperate to find a solution, Bernie and Julian attempt a cure, but their experiment backfires, worsening Julian's symptoms and forcing Bernie to eject him. In a last-ditch effort, Bernie discovers that gamma radiation can kill the virus. Using emissions from Sirius B, the crew is saved, but the treatment leaves them all sterilized. Meanwhile, Eric struggles to decode the alien transmissions and turns to Harper's massive audience to help. With the Salvare repaired, the crew returns to cryosleep for the long journey ahead, but peace is short-lived. Nico wakes alone to find August injured and terrified, whispering that something is lurking on board. Episode 4. Nico and Cass, both fully alert and armed, rush August to the medbay after finding her injured. Before they can help her, a hidden force seizes August and pulls her away. One by one, other crew members vanish without warning, leaving Nico isolated and powerless. With no options left, she retreats to her cryosleep chamber and surrenders to unconsciousness. While the rest of the crew awakens, Nico remains trapped in a damaged sleep cycle, unaware that reality has moved on. Inside her mind, Nico drifts through vivid visions, some rooted in memory, others shaped by what could have been. She experiences a debriefing about the tragic pilgrim mission, mourns the fallen at their funeral, and imagines her daughter's next birthday. The crew works tirelessly to wake her, but nothing seems to work. Even William's attempt to reach her in her dreams is rejected as Nico remains locked in her inner struggle. Meanwhile, the Salvare detects a moon in a habitable orbit, sparking debate among the crew. With supplies running low, tensions rise. Cass initially opposes the detour, but ultimately changes course and drops out of faster-than-light travel. During this time, Sasha and Michelle share a brief romantic moment. In Nico's dreamscape, she finds herself back on the Salvare, but surrounded by the long-lost pilgrim crew. As the loop of that fateful mission replays, William defies orders and re-enters her mind, guiding her toward acceptance. Nico finally comes to terms with the decision that led to 10 deaths, including her lover and August's brother. Zane succeeds in waking her, just as William picks up a signal from the moon resembling the mysterious transmission from Earth. Sensors reveal another strange crystal, hinting at something far more significant. Episode 5. A landing party from the Salvare, consisting of Nico, Cass, Sasha, Zane, and Bernie, touches down on the moon to explore the strange signal source. After replenishing their water supply, they begin a hike toward a towering crystalline formation. Unseen beneath the surface, something begins to stir and tracks their movements. While Bernie and Zane search for food, they find the local offerings unpalatable. Sasha attempts to engage with the crystal through first contact, but the structure doesn't respond. During the mission, Cass confides in Nico about her past relationship with Ian, prompting Nico to share her own painful history with her former superior officer on the ill-fated Pilgrim mission. Meanwhile, Bernie suffers a leg injury after an encounter with a large insect, and his wound becomes inflamed, suggesting that the plant life may carry harmful properties. Cass and Nico retrieve a shard from the crystal tower, only to be affected by hallucinogenic pollen from surrounding plants. While they are distracted, Sasha, left on his own, is abruptly pulled inside the crystal. Back on the Salvare, August is assigned technical work alongside Oliver and Javier. Both men show interest in her, and eventually, each shares a kiss with her. On Earth, Eric and Harper face pressure from Dubois, who confronts them about the leaked alien information. However, their global outreach effort pays off when a man named Marcus identifies a repeating pattern in the alien audio that matches the moon's crystal structure. Cass and Nico eventually find Sasha dazed and outside the tower. Zane arrives with the injured Bernie, and the team heads back, only to be ambushed by giant insects. They manage to escape and return to the Salvare, unknowingly bringing a small creature with them. On board, chaos erupts as William goes silent. Gravity fails, and a fire breaks out in the shuttle bay. Episode 6. Despite repeated attempts, the crew fails to restore William's systems. Meanwhile, Sasha is growing increasingly disturbed by visions of a second version of himself. No one else sees the double, leading him to question his sanity. Elsewhere, August discovers the burned corpse of the alien insect that hitched a ride from the moon. It's the culprit behind the shuttle bay fire. Concerned about his mental state, Sasha seeks help from Zane, who runs a CT scan and suggests meditation as a way to manage the stress. Around the same time, William briefly comes back online but malfunctions badly. He reports multiple imaginary fires and activates the Go Home Protocol, an emergency measure that detaches the lower section of the ship, housing the crew in cryosleep, and sends it hurtling toward Earth. Nico tries to manually reconnect the separated modules, but tensions with Cass escalate. Their argument stems from unresolved issues during their time on the alien moon. As Nico attempts to repair a faulty coupling from outside the ship, she notices severe damage near the exotic matter drive. Suddenly, the ship jumps to FTL, stranding her in space. In flashbacks, it's revealed that Nico and Cass first crossed paths during a violent kidnapping in a submerged Boston years earlier. Cass makes the decision to turn the Salvare around and succeeds in rescuing Nico, who signals her position by igniting oxygen leaking from her suit. On board, Sasha's hallucinations worsen. His double urges him to surrender control. Soon after, a reactor overload triggered by exotic matter threatens to destroy the ship. Michelle sacrifices herself by manually shutting down the core, her body dissolving from exposure. Cass is left devastated by Michelle's death, and Nico and William activate a new crew member to take her place. Sasha later visits Zane again, claiming he's recovered, but in secret, he deletes his scan results, hiding the presence of a strange organism attached to his brain. Episode 7. Back on Earth, leadership of the Alien Artifact Project shifts as Sasha's father, Secretary of Defense Egan Harrison, assumes control. Using sound patterns analyzed by Marcus, Eric develops a way to establish basic communication with the alien structure through light signals. This method proves effective. A door opens at the base of the monolith. A drone is sent inside and transmits an eerie image resembling Sasha. Aboard the Salvare, the crew welcomes Beauchamp, who is tasked with piloting the ship through a dense dark matter field. Sasha, whose behavior grows increasingly suspicious, questions Nico about what the crew plans to do if peaceful negotiations with the aliens collapse. Nico refuses to share classified details and distances herself from him. Meanwhile, on Earth, Nani prepares to step into the open artifact, but is overwhelmed by panic. Eric, determined to move forward, volunteers to enter instead, despite his daughter Jana's emotional protests. Once inside, he finds himself trapped in a simulation filled with memories of Nico. During this strange encounter, he's presented with a possible answer to an advanced equation, but he abandons it to follow an illusion of Jana, ultimately leaving the artifact without solving the mystery. On the Salvare, Sasha continues to spiral. Javier informs him of a secret weapon hidden in the ship's technology, a condensed light-speed energy field known as Operation Brimstone. Sasha, now clearly compromised by alien influence, demands access to William in order to disable the weapon. When Javier refuses, Sasha violently attacks, unleashing metallic tendrils from his eyes and injuring him. Simultaneously on Earth, Eric's team watches these events unfold through the artifact's portal. As Egan and armed personnel approach, the structure emits a deadly sonic wave. Egan is killed instantly. Jana is hurt in the blast, and Harper is suddenly pulled into the artifact moments before the door seals shut. Episode 8. As the Salvare enters the dark matter cloud, Beauchamp takes the helm for the initial navigation shift. Meanwhile, the rest of the crew gathers for a shared meal. Sasha secretly adds a substance derived from Bernie's alien moon plants into the salad, intensifying the emotions of everyone aboard. The result is chaos. Javier becomes aggressive, Cass sinks into despair, Zane is euphoric, and Oliver and August find themselves overcome with desire. Nico begins to hallucinate, seeing Eric outside the ship. Noticing the crew's erratic behavior, Nico quickly realizes she's the only one unaffected. She assigns Beauchamp temporary command and asks William to create a party simulation, hoping it will help the others process the effects safely. As the party unfolds, William and Nico share a dance. Sasha and Javier observe the interaction, and Sasha encourages William's growing emotional interest in Nico. Amid the hazy atmosphere, Bernie kisses Zane, and a moment unfolds between Javier, Oliver, and August. Though Javier becomes emotionally close to Oliver, Oliver turns his attention to August. When August eventually shuts Javier out, he leaves hurt and angry. Later, William projects a simulated Eric for Nico, and the two share a romantic encounter. Once the illusion fades, Nico feels embarrassed and asks William to delete the moment. Javier stumbles upon Sasha attempting to erase William and disable his control. Sasha, who never consumed the drug-laced salad, attacks him again, leaving him in a near brain-dead state. Nico, Bernie, and Zane discover Sasha's deleted CT scan, which reveals something foreign attached to his brain. Manipulating the vulnerable AI, Sasha tricks William into shutting down. With William offline, Sasha begins isolating the crew and violently takes over, starting with Beauchamp. Nico is locked out, helpless. Meanwhile, on Earth, Dubois returns to lead the artifact project. Eric receives devastating news. Jana has developed aggressive leukemia. Harper, mysteriously released from the artifact, collapses upon exit. Episode 9. Inside the flight deck, Cass confronts Sasha and manages to unlock the door for Nico. Together, they reach Beauchamp, free him, and trap Sasha inside. But Sasha has already seized control of the ship, separating the crew into sealed sections, initiating faster-than-light travel, and disabling the reactor's cooling system to cause an eventual explosion. Nico sends Bernie to restore the cooling. He succeeds, but is badly shocked during the process. Zane arrives in time to resuscitate him. Meanwhile, Nico reboots William, but he returns without his memories, functioning only as a basic artificial intelligence. On Earth, Eric questions Harper at Dubois' request. Medical scans reveal her brain contains the same unusual structure as Sasha's. Harper identifies the alien species as the Akaya and insists they can heal Jana. However, Dubois believes Eric is being manipulated and removes him from the project. Back on the Salvare, Nico attempts to awaken another crew member, Azami, hoping for assistance. Sasha intervenes mid-process and kills her. Beauchamp regains his strength and determines that Sasha has steered the ship directly toward a black hole within the cloud. With their situation growing desperate, Nico decides to send the remaining crew in a shuttle to continue the mission while she stays behind to try saving the Salvare. She confides in Cass about William's emotional conflict and William's self-imposed shutdown. Cass agrees to lead the shuttle. Alone, Nico uses a pod to reach out to William's subconscious. She apologizes, prompting him to recover his lost memories, although tension between them lingers. Sasha breaks into the room and a violent chase ensues. As he strangles Nico, William returns to action, electrifying the floor and knocking them both out. Nico wakes up and uses the implant in Sasha's brain to generate enough power to push the ship out of danger. She then reunites with the shuttle and crew. The Salvare continues toward the Akaya homeworld, where William locates an intense signal from a structure on the surface. Episode 10. Nico, Cass, and Oliver descend to the surface of the planet orbiting Pi Canis Majoris, discovering yet another massive crystalline structure. As Nico and Cass hike toward the tower, they decide to explore nearby caves and the ruins of a long-abandoned city. Inside a crude shelter within the cave, they encounter a strange bat-winged humanoid alongside an artificial intelligence. The AI informs them that this world is not Akaya, but Zakir. According to the AI, the Akaya arrived 5 years ago and brought destruction. They are an advanced hostile force that now dominates over 300 star systems. Their actual homeworld lies over 400 light-years away. As they explore deeper, Nico and Cass realize that the ruins are filled with skeletal remains of the Zakir population, all of whom had brain implants identical to Sasha's. Meanwhile, Sasha, delirious and confined in the medbay, begs to be euthanized. He turns violent and attacks Zane, prompting Bernie to intervene and kill him. Zane extracts Sasha's implant, and William reprograms it, then implants it into Javier. The procedure is successful, and Javier regains consciousness. Elsewhere on the Salvare, August finds out she is pregnant. On Earth, Dubois plans to have Harper's implant removed by force. Under sedation, Harper kills the surgical team and escapes, thanks to Eric. In exchange, she promises to help cure Jana. Eric takes Jana into the alien artifact, while Harper broadcasts to the world that the Akaya are already present on Earth and are peaceful. On board the Salvare, William creates a virtual version of Nico, giving it feelings similar to his own, to try and understand their strained connection. Nico and Cass decide to help the remaining Zakir and fire the ship's brimstone weapon to destroy the crystal tower. Upon returning, August tells Oliver and Javier about her pregnancy, unsure which of them is the father. Zane and Bernie grow closer and become intimate. William tries to delete the simulated Nico but fails. The program shifts and calls him Mother. Just then, 5 Achaean ships arrive and annihilate Zakir. Nico sets course for Earth and attempts a jump to FTL. Hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, share your thoughts in the comments below, and subscribe to our channel for more great content. Thank you for watching.